How is that legal, man? Oh my. Oh. Oh, it's in my throat. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mr. Dale, and you're watching Spicy Singles. It's the show where government teachers go to make horrible, life-altering decisions. I'm joined today by my wife, Mrs. Dale, who's going to help us out by reading through some of your guys' questions pertaining to economics, government, and current events. So, thanks for joining me, Mrs. Dale. I appreciate it. Pleasure, as always. We've got 10 wings we're going to put down. We're going to do a couple of questions as we read through each wing. So I guess let's go ahead and get started. I actually had this one a lot of times.
We went to Louisiana.
We did. We went to New Orleans, and this one, I'm not nervous about it.
Okay, first question. Brittany from third period and Haley from first period asks, can you show us your dog?
Yeah. So we can definitely see Leia. The problem is I can't have her in the video because if I put her in the video, then she's going to want the food and she can't have chicken, right? Well, at least this kind of chicken. So maybe...
Chicken wings.
Chicken wings. Yes, the bones are the concern. So for Leia, what we can end up doing is just recording like some footage of her after this. And then we will put it in the video, probably overlaying this.
Yes.
Okay.
In slow motion.
Slow motion, yeah.
Bryce from fourth period wants to ask, who was a better president, Abraham Lincoln or George Washington?
That's such a good question. Because those are, a lot of historians would put them as 1 and 2, right? That would be your number 1 and your number 2.
Wait, which one is number 1 and number 2?
So, here's my take on it, okay? George Washington was a very accomplished American because he fought in the Revolution, he helped define the early government, was involved in like becoming a nation, and he did a lot as president, but most of like his achievements came before that. Whereas Abraham Lincoln, like you can take his entire life and sum it up into his handling of the Civil War and getting us through the most difficult period in American history. So I've got to give it to Abe. It's tough, but I'd say Abe won. Washington's probably 2. All right, Tapatio.
Jared from sixth period asks, how will COVID-19 affect our economy?
That's going to be tough, Jared. That's a really good question. And I think a lot of people have that question, right? It could be a short-term thing or a long-term thing. It could be that this time next month we're back to normal, or 6 months from now there's still some type of social distancing policy. I think we're just too early into the disease itself to speak intelligently about the economic implications.
So Sean from fourth period asks, the IMF declared we are in a global recession, the same or worse than the one in 2009. How long does it take for an economy to revive itself after a recession?
You know, if the IMF said that, I'd be somewhat shocked, because the way a recession works is you need 6 continual months of negative growth, and the impacts of COVID-19 really are only measurable in March, right? I guess maybe if we look at like a China and to an extent in Italy, it goes a little further back than that. I would believe that the IMF predicts a recession because we'll probably have 2 quarters of negative growth, but it would be really difficult to say if we're in one now.
And then our final one comes from Gabby from no period.
Oh, this is Gabe.
Seeing as Corona is affecting our economy, what is something that the U.S. is attempting to do to prevent another Great Depression?
So there's a lot, actually, and that should be, from an economic standpoint, pretty exciting for us, is because first, the Federal Reserve, which isn't technically part of the federal government, has pulled out all the stops. They're going to do everything within their power to make sure that we have easily accessible cash, that we have lending programs set up for small businesses, that there's liquidity with treasury bills and the ability for the U.S. government to borrow. They've basically taken care of that, or at least to the extent they can. So that's good. The second part is this $2 trillion plus stimulus bill. It's hard to call it a stimulus bill. It's more of like a bridge to what I assume may be a stimulus bill in the future, but they're doing everything they can to make sure American families have the financial resources to make it through April and maybe even into May. And they've shown a really strong bipartisan resolve that they're willing to keep doing that to make sure American families stay afloat. These are the types of tools that you didn't see under like the Hoover administration in the early 1930s during like the beginning of the Great Depression and the peak of it. The Federal Reserve during that period had no idea how to manage monetary policy in a time when the economy was basically collapsing. We know how to prevent a Great Depression now. So I think while this is scary, it's not going to be Great Depression bad, because we just know how to avoid those types of situations.
Okay, Maddie from Third Person. What?
Third Period.
Maddie from Third Period asks, how did you get the guy from The Office to film that video?
Okay. Oscar's a good family friend of ours, actually. We just had him over for dinner.
He's our accountant.
He's our accountant. No.
Actually, no, I am. But.
Oscar is on this website where you can go hire... Oh, that's getting a little spicy.
Ooh.
He's on a website where you can go hire actors to give a shout out. So I just reached out to him. He was up for it. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And next thing you knew, I had a video for Third Period for him. So, not for Third Period, but for my students, ready to go.